Hi, my name is Taylor Stone. I'm joined here today by Catherine Blanford and Sam Franklin. Today we're here to talk to you about the feasibility study of rebuilding an MBA facility in the city of Seattle. The study assesses the economic and fiscal impacts of harvesting an MBA facility in the city of Seattle. But first, we delve into the history of the Seattle Supersonics from 1966 to their relocation in 2008. In 1966, the Seattle Supersonics established themselves as the first professional sport organization in the state of Washington. In that time, the Supersonics brought one 1979 championship, 3 NBA Finals appearances, and 6 division titles to their loving fans. In 41 seasons, the Seattle Supersonics portrayed a history of winning and tradition. However, despite an enthusiastic fan base, owner Clay Bennett decided it would be financially feasible if the team relocated to Oklahoma City. The Seattle Supersonics relocation to Oklahoma City stemmed from the undersized and obsolete Key Arena which they played in. After being erected in 1994, it was shortly thereafter that the Key Arena was dwarfed by larger, more lucrative NBA facilities. By 2006, the Key Arena was the NBA's largest money loser and smallest venue.
All right, we're going to introduce our market analysis of the city of Seattle. Seattle is becoming a growing economic and cultural metropolitan hub for the country's Pacific Northwest region. There is the elected Mayor McGinn, and 9 city council members. Mayor McGinn has been quoted by saying that he is enthusiastic about bringing a new NBA franchise here, as well as rebuilding a new facility. However, any offers made to rebuild a new facility here must meet standards set forth by Seattle voters that any arena must be profitable for the city. 2010 census is a little bit over 608,000, and their metropolitan area is about 3.7 million people. They show a little bit above an average for a median family income of $85,600, and they do have a highly educated workforce. The Seattle Times hired a media company to poll about 2 million Seattleans in the metropolitan area about which events they attended in the past 12 months, and 46% of adults said they attended a professional sporting event. So it's obvious that the Seattle market does love their professional sports. The new arena is going to be a multi-purpose sport and entertainment green facility owned by the city of Seattle. It's going to be larger and more sustainable than the Key Arena, with an intimate design that every seat in the house will be a perfect view because the court is going to be below ground level. The construction on the new facility will be having building strategies that will improve energy savings and water efficiency with features such as green roofing, energy efficient windows and air filters, and water efficiency plumbing system. The building will be built to host a variety of events other than professional basketball in order to bring in additional revenue. Construction of a new facility will cost $500 million and will be located on land south of Safeco Field. The land is donated by the city and is going to be ideal for local retail and hospitality businesses, as to bring customers who come to events will also be using their businesses for eating, staying, and other entertainment purposes.
Now we will get into our project description. The new Seattle Arena will have a capacity of 20,000 seats and also a 4-sided jumbotron. The new Seattle Arena will be larger and more suitable for an NBA franchise in comparison to the Key Arena, as you see here on the graph. The new Seattle Arena will have 20,000 seats, will accommodate for our 3 million population in Seattle. As for our club seats, we have 2,000 club seats and 75 luxury suites. Seattle is home to 8 Fortune 500 companies. Our 75 luxury suites will allow us to bring those corporate dollars made by those Fortune 500 companies.
Since 2008, when the city of Seattle lost their beloved Supersonics to owner Clay Bennett in Oklahoma City, taxpayers and city officials have been working diligently to bring the team back to the city of Seattle. Mayor Mike McGinn and King County Executive Dow Constantine have been quoted as saying, they are able to finance a $500 million risk-free proposal for an NBA facility in Seattle. Financing for the $500 million project will be made through both public and private investments. The $300 million private investment will be led by Chris Hansen, owner of Valiant Capital Management, a $2.7 million international hedge fund company. The remaining $200 million will be invested through public tax streams, or a bond made through public tax streams. These taxes will be repaid through taxes such as sales, property, administration, admissions, and business and occupation taxes. The public investment has been quoted by Mayor Mike McGinn as being capped at $200 million. Like most facilities, revenue for this project will be made through standard event operations such as parking, ticket sales, luxury suites, and club seating. Personal consumption expenditures represent nearly 2/3 of the nationwide GDP as a whole. The state of Washington would only further benefit their 12th ranked GDP by rebuilding an NBA facility in the city of Seattle. According to Plunkett Research, the sport industry is a $414 billion market, up from the $410 billion in 2009. Washington can only expect to see a rise in that number by adding the facility in the city of Seattle.
Now we'll get into the economic and fiscal impact the new facility will have in Seattle.
Hold on. Good.
Having a new facility and NBA franchise return to Seattle will have a positive economic impact. The construction of the facility will bring in additional capital that will not have entered the market if not for the construction of the arena. The facility will also generate additional revenue in ticket purchases, concessions, merchandise that will help pay off the arena debt. The attractiveness of this new addition will also help surrounding businesses such as hotels, restaurants, and retail stores. The Seattle Times reported that bringing a new NBA franchise would generate roughly 1,300 jobs and $185 million. The fiscal impact will include various taxes and fees paid to the city, including sales, property, admissions, and business and occupation taxes generated by the arena.
Okay, now we're going to take you through our pro forma financials that are projected for the first 5 years of the facility being in operation with an NBA team holding games there. So first of all, this is our income statement. As you can see, our revenues start out at $121. By year 3, they're at $124 million, and then year 5, they're at $120 million. The reason because of that is because the NBA is part of a lead sharing revenue. And so for the first 3 years, we are going to be starting out as a new team. So we're planning on having each year of those years, we're planning on generating $20 million in revenue. But by year 4 and 5, we'll only receive $10 million in revenue. So that's the reason why our revenues are going down. Then our cost of goods sold increases gradually as well as our expenses due to the fact that by year 5, we're expected to have immediate success, so our increase in traffic for consumers going to games as well as purchasing merchandise at the games. Also, as our years go on and our team gets better, we're expected to increase our player salary as we get better players. And so the last thing is down here, our interest expense, as you'll see, is a constant $10 million every year. That's because our public investment is being paid through city bonds, and so with a bond, it's going to be a constant interest expense every year through the 30 years that bond is, until that bond is repaid in 30 years.
So for our 30-year, $200 million public bond, we intend to pay this bond off in the first 20 years at an annual interest rate of 5%. We then take it to our escrow account on our balance sheet. In year 1, our escrow begins at $1 million, and by year 5, it accumulates to $11 million. This escrow money is the accumulated cash set aside to pay off the bond at a call premium in the first 20 years. As you can see, in year 1, through year 5, our land is estimated at costing $1,025,000. Since the project is not estimated to be complete until year 2, the $500 million is recorded under cost of work in progress. Our equipment, years 1 through 5, is recorded at costing $500,000. We previously discussed the public bond being paid off in the first 20 years. That public bond is capped at $200 million. The remaining financing for the project, as said earlier, is coming from Chris Hansen, the hedge fund manager out of San Francisco. The remaining $300 million is then recorded under private investors' equity.
Next is our cash flow statement. In the operating section, each year the operating section is decreased by an increase in our assets, as well as an increase in additional payments we put into our escrow account. In the financing section, the only recordings are a deduction in the investing section for our long-term assets that we purchased in land, building, and equipment. And then our financing section, year 1, there's an addition to our public and private investments, as well as each year after that, our financing section is increased by the additional payments we put into our escrow account. So by the end of year 1, we're at almost $20 million, and by the end of year 5, we're almost at $91 million. So although these cash amounts are high, especially by the end of year 5, we expect that after that we will be able to take these high ending cash amounts and invest them in other assets, such as building renovations.
In conclusion, we recommend that building a new facility will be financially feasible with an increasing population growth rate and a market that doesn't have another franchise within 3 hours driving distance and population that is willing to spend their disposable income on professional sports. Seattle is an economy with a high median family income and a sufficient number of Fortune 500 companies that make this arena profitable. The construction costs of the new arena have an ideal financial structure that will allow the 30-year bond to be paid off early and a high cash flow that will allow us to reinvest into the facility.